Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive.
Yeah.
Today, we're heading out, way out, beyond the stars.
Sounds exciting.
It really is. We're going to tackle a question that's been bugging me for a while now.
Yeah.
What would life, real life, be like on a super Earth?
Ah, those massive planets, right. The ones that are way bigger than our little Earth.
Exactly. Rocky planets, but much bigger and with a lot more gravity. So for our deep dive today, let's imagine a super Earth that's got, say, 1.5 times the gravity of Earth.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Now, the big question is, how would life, if it even started, how would it evolve differently in a place where just taking a step would feel like, well, a huge effort?
It's a wild thought, right? That kind of gravity, it would be a game changer for evolution. Everything would be different, like how creatures move, their bones, their muscles, even how they survive, like hunting or finding food. It's all got to change.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. It'd be like carrying around extra weight all the time just to walk around. But it wouldn't just be about feeling heavier, would it?
No way. This extra gravity would affect everything about how life would be designed. I mean, think about your skeleton. It would be under so much stress all the time.
Makes sense. Our bones are strong, but are they that strong?
Maybe, maybe not. But creatures on the super Earth would probably have evolved super dense, thick bones, maybe even with extra reinforcements to deal with that constant pull.
Wow, so they'd be built tough from the inside out.
You got it. And their muscles, forget about it. They'd have to be incredibly strong, way more powerful than ours just to support all that weight and move around.
So are you saying that to even exist on a super Earth, you'd basically have to be built like, I don't know, a superhero or something?
Haha, kinda, yeah. But it's not all about brute strength either. We got to consider the internal stuff, like the heart and lungs, they'd be working overtime.
Oh, right. I hadn't thought about that. How would they keep up?
The cardiovascular system would be under a lot of pressure, literally. It would have to pump blood against that intense gravity.
I can imagine. So bigger hearts, stronger pumps, the whole works.
Exactly. And the lungs would be working harder too. Those super muscles would need a lot of oxygen constantly.
It's really incredible when you think about it, like life finding a way to thrive in what seems like, well, really difficult conditions. But wouldn't it be different for, say, fish? They're in water, right? Wouldn't the buoyancy help them out a bit with all that gravity?
You're right. Being in the water would definitely take some of the edge off the gravity. But it wouldn't be a free pass even in the deepest ocean.
So super Earth fish would still need some serious adaptations.
No doubt about it. They wouldn't necessarily be huge, like some people might think.
Oh, that's interesting. What would they be like then?
Probably shorter, more compact, dense, muscular bodies. It'd be all about moving efficiently in denser water. Picture like a super streamlined shape.
I get it. Like little torpedoes zipping around. Would their fins be different too?
For sure, their fins would be larger, more powerful. They'd need that extra push to deal with the stronger currents and pressure.
Wow. So even underwater, it's a constant push and pull against gravity. What about their scales? Would they be different too?
Oh, absolutely. The scales could be thicker, heavier, almost like an armor plating. They'd provide protection and support.
It's amazing. It's like even breathing would be a challenge, right? Would they have different gills?
Most likely, yeah. They'd probably have larger gills so they can extract more oxygen from the water, which would be denser too. And they'd need stronger muscles to force that water over their gills.
So even something as basic as breathing, it's all about efficiency. It's like every system is working in overdrive. But what about the creatures on land? I mean, they don't have water to help them out. Could they even stand up under that much gravity, let alone walk around?
That's where it gets even more interesting. Land creatures on a super Earth would face some really dramatic adaptations. They wouldn't have long, slender limbs, that's for sure.
So no graceful gazelles or anything like that?
No way. Think more like, well, tanks, built stocky and low to the ground for stability. It'd be all about staying upright.
Okay, so no high-speed chases or jumping around. Would their skeletons need to be even stronger than the super Earth fish we talked about?
Definitely. Imagine bones that are thicker and denser. They might not be as flexible, but they'd be incredibly strong. And the muscles, especially in the legs and back, would be powerhouses. Every step would be a workout.
It's mind-blowing. And their internal systems, would they be supersized too? Like the heart and lungs?
Absolutely. The heart would be pumping nonstop, a real powerhouse, pushing blood against that relentless gravity. And the lungs would have to keep up, taking in huge amounts of oxygen to fuel those muscles.
So it sounds like life on land, with all that extra gravity, would be a constant struggle. Every part of their bodies would be shaped by this battle against the pull. It makes you wonder how all that would affect their behavior, how they survive and interact.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's not just about their bodies, it's about how they live in that world. Everything would be different.
It's amazing to think how much gravity would influence, like, their whole way of life.
Mm.
But could they, I don't know, could they even develop intelligence? Could you have a species that's, thinking and feeling on a super Earth?
Now, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If they did evolve intelligence, if we imagine that, well, I don't think they'd look anything like those classic sci-fi aliens, the tall, slender types.
Yeah, I get what you mean. So not like those elegant, graceful beings we see in the movies?
Nope, probably not. They'd probably share a lot of traits with the other creatures we've been talking about. Stocky, strong, built for stability.
So more like what, dwarves or something from those fantasy stories.
Uh-huh. Yeah, maybe something like that. But what would really set them apart is their intelligence, their minds. How would that evolve under such intense gravity? It's fascinating to think about.
Right, like would their brains even work the same way as ours?
Well, imagine a species whose whole perception of the world is just completely different.
Different how?
Their senses, for example. They might be super sensitive to things we barely notice, like subtle vibrations in the ground or tiny changes in air pressure.
Hmm. Because gravity will be such a powerful force in their lives.
Exactly. It would shape their whole sensory world. And that would probably affect how they communicate, too.
So they wouldn't be talking like us.
Maybe not. Maybe they'd communicate through those vibrations we talked about, or by creating patterns with air currents.
Wow, so we might not even recognize it as communication. That's wild.
Yeah.
But what about thinking, like problem solving? Would they be good at that?
Well, think about it. They'd be dealing with gravity's pull all the time, so they'd have to be really good at understanding things like weight, balance, and force, just to function.
Oh, I see what you mean. Like even building a simple shelter would require some serious engineering skills.
Exactly. They'd be natural engineers, constantly figuring out how to work with, or maybe even against, their planet's gravity.
Their buildings would have to be super strong, right? To withstand all that pressure.
Absolutely. They couldn't use flimsy materials. Everything would have to be durable, able to handle the constant strain.
This is blowing my mind. It's like a whole different way of looking at alien civilizations.
Yeah.
But would they even, I don't know, would they be interested in space travel? Could they even get off their planet with all that gravity holding them down?
No, that's a tough one. It would definitely be a lot harder for them. To escape their planet, they'd need to reach a much higher speed than we do.
Like way more powerful rockets.
You got it. Their technology would have to be incredibly advanced. It might even seem impossible to them.
So maybe they'd focus more on exploring their own world. Like maybe they'd dig deep underground or build amazing underwater cities.
Exactly. Their idea of exploration might be totally different from ours. It makes you wonder, though, if they looked up at the stars, would they even have the same sense of wonder that we do? Would they want to go there?
It's like their planet would be both a home and, I don't know, a kind of prison. It would nurture them, but it would also make it incredibly hard to leave.
It really puts things into perspective, doesn't it? The conditions on Earth, they were just right for us to evolve the way we did. And eventually, we were able to get out there and explore space.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if maybe these super Earth beings, maybe their curiosity would take them in different directions.
It's possible. Maybe instead of looking up, they'd look down or inwards, exploring the depths of their oceans, the secrets hidden deep within their planet.
It's amazing to think that our drive to explore space might not be universal. Maybe for them, the challenges of their own world would be enough.
And that's a fascinating thought. It really challenges our assumptions about what intelligence means and how it might express itself in different environments.
It's definitely a humbling thought. Maybe we need to broaden our definition of what it means to be intelligent and curious.
I think you're right. Who knows what other forms of intelligence are out there waiting to be discovered?
It's funny, right? We talk about alien life, and we automatically think about, like, spaceships and futuristic technology.
It's like we're stuck in our own little bubble, assuming everyone wants to be like us.
Exactly. But what if their technology is just, I don't know, completely different?
Well, think about it. They've evolved on a planet with super strong gravity. What if they figured out ways to use that gravity to actually manipulate it?
That's an interesting thought. Like bending gravity to their will.
Exactly. It could be like a whole new branch of science, something we haven't even dreamed of.
So instead of fighting against gravity to get into space, they might have found ways to work with it, to achieve things we can't even imagine.
It's mind-blowing, isn't it? Their technology could be so advanced, so different from ours, that we might not even recognize it as technology.
It's like, what if we saw their stuff and it just looked like, I don't know, magic or something?
Yeah. Or maybe it would seem like some kind of natural phenomenon.
But it wouldn't be magic, would it? It would be their science, their understanding of the universe.
Precisely. Their whole way of thinking, their entire worldview, would be shaped by their unique environment.
This deep dive has really made me rethink everything I thought I knew about alien life. It's like we're so focused on finding another version of ourselves, but what if the real excitement is in discovering something totally different, something that challenges all our assumptions?
I think you're right. The universe is vast and the possibilities are endless. There could be forms of life out there that are so strange, so alien, that we can't even begin to comprehend them.
And that's what makes the search so thrilling, right? It's the unknown, the possibility of encountering something truly mind-blowing.
Well said. So, to all our listeners out there, keep those minds open and keep looking up at the stars. You never know what wonders are waiting to be discovered.
And remember, the universe is full of surprises, so keep exploring and keep asking those big questions. Who knows what we might find out there?